Welcome, everyone. You made it. You're here. You're here. You're here. Hopefully, you're in the right place. My name is Leanne Reagan, and you're here for the Learning and Development Roundtable on tips and tools to increase your work-life balance during COVID and beyond. And yes, it's possible. So I'm so delighted that you've joined us. You belong here. You did the hard part in terms of showing up. So you've cleared your calendar, you're in the right place at the right time. So welcome. And a special welcome to the mentoring, I think it's the mentoring folks from New York City. Let me know if you're in that program. A special welcome to you. I know those folks are being included for the first time. So welcome. You would have received an agenda. So today we're going to put the elusive myth of work-life balance to bed for good. You're going to understand some of the most recent and cutting-edge research around work-life balance. You're going to get to know yourself a little bit better with a simple tool designed to uncover how you're currently dealing with work-life balance and how you can create more relaxation and balance and less fear and anxiety. Then we're going to take some action. I'll teach you a skill designed to decrease your stress and increase your wellness. And then you're going to map 3 types of stressors in your life so that you can create a really customized, it fits you and your needs work-life balance plan. And then if you are a UN staff, you can receive credit for this course, participation. So, and if you're not a UN staff, not to worry, you belong here. You're more than welcome. Okay, so a couple of things. Let me know in the chat, how many times have you been to a roundtable? Is this your first? Is it your 5th? How many times have you been here? This is meant to be a really supportive community that's really focused on learning and growing and developing. And also, as much as I want you to receive, I also want this to be a place where you can also give, because I know there's lots and lots of really smart folks in the group. So please feel free to receive what support you can here, and also to give of your resources, your time, your etc. Hey, Diana, I can see you're a regular. Nice to see you, Daniela, first time. Hazel, first time. Maurice, lots of first times. Great. And Veronica has been a couple times. Fantastic. So whether this is your first or your 5th or whatever, you are so welcome here. I'm so delighted to be here with you. So a little bit about myself, especially if this is the first time that you're meeting me. My name is Leanne Reagan. And let me know by placing the number in the chat, which of these things are you interested in knowing more about me? So each of these things have a little story behind them. So number 1, toggle. Number 2, tech magic. Number 3, refeathering nest. Number 4, 4-wheel drive. And number 5, why Simon? So Jorge says toggle. Okay, I hear toggle and tech magic. Okay, so toggle. So one of the ways that I really work on my work-life balance, and pay attention to your reactions. Some of you might go, oh, that sounds horrible. And others might go, oh, I love that idea. So know that I track my time. So every day of my workday, I use a tool called Toggle, and I now have 2 years. I've been doing this for 2 years, 2 years worth of data that shows me where I'm spending my work time. And can I tell you how fantastic that is to be able to look back and see where I'm spending my time and where that needs to shift and change and such. So Toggle is oh, I love Toggle. What else? Marie said number 2, tech magic. So another way that I focus on my work-life balance is I love to use tech tools to help with my ease and efficiency and productivity. So one of the tools I use, and let me know in the chat if you have this kind of tool, if you use it, because I use this probably 50 times a day at least, is a text expander. So it kind of seems like magic, but with a text expander, you teach it when you type out a little bit of something and then it expands it. So for example, if you reach out to me on LinkedIn, you'll get a whole bunch of resources that I haven't had to painstakingly type out. I just use my text expander and poof, it's all there. So text expander, what was the next one? Sebastian said number 4. Oh, 4-wheel drive, a big part of my work-life balance. I'm really fortunate to live, I'm Canadian by passport, but I live here in beautiful Nairobi, Kenya. So I love to go out on safaris. So especially when I get to kick it into 4-wheel drive and be out in the beautiful parks here. Okay, one more. Sylvia said refeathering nest. So another place, I know we all come to this in from different contexts, if you will. And the context that I'm coming to you from is I'm a mom. I have 2 children, but my children are now 20 and 25. So I'm doing what I call refeathering my nest. My boys don't live here in Kenya with us in our home. They live in Canada. So that's a big part of my work-life balance is parenting adult kids and not having kids in my home. So that's a little bit about me. The 3 things that I focus on when I'm working with clients is I do a lot of working better together, which is things like team building, conflict resolution, communications, culture, all sorts of training related to that. I also do a lot of training around tech tools for ease, for efficiency, productivity. And then I also work with subject matter experts to do training of trainers with them. So how to help them become really interesting, to design and deliver really interesting, engaging, powerful training. So that's a little bit about me. I would love to hear from you folks. Again, I'm so tickled that you're here. Feel free to pick a number here and write down in the chat, what do you want to take? So number 1 is, what would you like to take away? What would you like to get out of today? Or number 2, bake. What's cooking for you? What's interesting that's happening in your life around work-life balance? Maybe you're learning a new hobby, or you've just got a new role at work or something like that. So what's cooking? Number 3, your wake. What do you want to leave behind? So when it comes to work-life balance, what's something that you just tired of that's not working? I just want to leave that behind. Or number 4, make. So is there something you want to create today? Maybe that's a certain feeling, or you want to evoke something. Or number 5, quake. Is there something that you're a little bit afraid of when it comes to work-life balance? So let me know in the chat. You can put down the word take, bake, wake, make, or quake, and then whatever your thing is attached to that. Okay, so Jorge, so you want to create something. So let us know if there's something particular that you want to create. Oh, and feel free to answer that, folks. So answer it for yourself. So what is something, if you're putting number 1 down, take, what is something that you'd like to get out of today? If it's number 2, what's cooking for you? Number 3, what do you want to leave behind? So feel free. We've got a couple of bakes. We've got actually a lot of bakes. Okay. So let me know in the chat. So Maurice wants to, in terms of taking something out, you want to talk about or deal with procrastination. That's a great topic. Veronica is saying, take better awareness, good tips and tricks that work for others. Nice. So in that, Veronica, it sounds like you want to share this with others, which is fabulous. Jorge is saying, create a good retirement plan. Oh, considering current circumstances. Yeah, I was just at the World Domination Summit in Portland, Oregon. And I was lucky enough to give a workshop there. And then I also took a workshop on retirement, which is kind of a new phase that I'll be entering at some point. Okay, let's see. Oleanka says, new role at work. Okay, so in terms of baking, what's cooking, juggling home and work routines, right? And that can get really emphasized when you have a new role, especially. Jess says, what does not work for me is daily routine to start the workday from same thing, new urgent things each morning. Yeah. That's great. I'm great, Jess, and that you shared that. Thank you. Nosifo says, wake, leave behind stressing about career growth and focus more on enhancing work-life balance. Woohoo! High five to that. Danielle is saying, I'd like to take some tips and tricks that are effective, and I will start a new job in September. On the same position, but a different organization. Okay, so you're going to be dealing with potentially a different organizational culture. Camila saying, big, newly relocated to Kenya. Oh, try to organize myself. That's a big one. Camille. Welcome. And Padma says, Quake, I'm afraid I can't meet expectations at work when requirements come in at the last minute and there's nothing much I can do as I'm occupied with other work. Oh, I love that you said that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's significant. And then Rose, tips to keep motivated and efficient. Oh, great. Those are all really wonderful things. So keep those in mind, and we're going to dive into those. But first, just a couple of really quick housekeeping things. Please make the most of your learning and participate. You did the hard work of getting here. So feel free to ask lots of questions, offer comments, ideas, suggestions in the chat. Also, sometimes we focus a lot on the actual training, but we don't focus a lot on how do we remember what we're learning. So if you wish, you can download this worksheet. This is my to-do to done. And once you click on the link and download it, it's one way out of many to curate your learning. And once you download it, it becomes editable. So you may, I'll offer you this gentle challenge when you're thinking about how do I remember and get the most out of my learning today, is think about one thing you want to do as a result of today. And you can type that right into the sheet once you download it. One thing you want to continue doing when it comes to work-life balance, because you're rocking that thing and it's working really well. Maybe there's something you want to stop doing when it comes to work-life balance. Maybe there's something you want to not do. And maybe there's something, I love, one of my favorites is the to done, which is something that you've already done. You're celebrating this, it's an accomplishment. And then toodle. So your toodle are things that focus on outside of work. So what are some toodle things that you can put there? So feel free to use that if you wish. Welcome, Precious. Thank you for joining us. Glad that you're here. Also know that if you are a Learning and Development member, you will get access to all of the resources after today. So early next week, I will send out a ton of resources, but those only go to the members. And by the way, this is a new link. I've changed something in the back end. So if you've already signed up as a member, don't worry. You'll still get all of those emails. If you recently signed up, just make sure that you've used this link here. This is the newest one. And then you'll get access to the recordings, and they're all time-stamped, which means that you can click ahead to the part that maybe you want to return to, or maybe you missed it, etc. Hi, Mercy. Welcome. And also, please invite others. I really always am open to growing our community for people that are interested in learning and training and education and sharing. So please feel free to share that membership link for them. And if you are a UN staff, this is how you get credit for this course. So I'll put the link there. You just need to fill that in by the end of today. And that's only if you're a UN staff. And then also mark your calendars, and I'd love to hear. So our next meeting is September 15th, and I'm thinking about doing something around perspective taking. How do you put yourself in other people's shoes? Or if you're feeling like you just can't understand, it's like people are speaking Greek and you just can't get your message out. I'm thinking about doing that in September. October, I was thinking about a conflict resolution workshop. And then November, how to engage people so they'll listen and collaborate. And by the way, November will be our 10th year of the Roundtable. I can't believe it. We've been doing this for 10 years. So that's a potential topic. And then in December, we won't meet. And then in the new year, I'm thinking about I usually in January do how to create a learning plan for yourself and your team. And then I was also thinking about, and by the way, these are all, oh, folks, apologies. I just realized I have been messaging the waiting room. So if you're like, hey, Leanne, how come I can't see these links that you're talking about? There you go. So there is the membership link. And if your future self is watching this on the video, all the links will be down below. And then okay, so the attendance sheet is there. And then here are all the topics. So let me know what you think about these topics, which I'm now sending to everyone. There you go. In the new year, in addition to a learning plan, I was thinking about doing something on change management, career satisfaction, and systems to save your sanity. These are a mixture of things that people give me through feedback, responses that I get during the roundtables. So that's where these ideas come from. So let me know, particularly next meeting in September. What do you think about being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, understand different perspectives, be able to sort of use that to communicate better, resolve conflict better. And that's using the Life Lenses tool, so let me know, what do you think in the chat there? You're very quiet in the chat. Are you bowled over by the topics, or you're like, oh, I love them? Okay, so Camille, really interesting. Okay, great. Okay, and if there's topics you want that you don't see there, just let me know. I'm here to serve. I know it's hard to carve out time for learning, so I really want to be of service to you. Okay, Mercy loves the top. Okay, great. Okay, so keep those comments coming if you have other ideas. And then also, please feel free, there every month, I ask people to fill in a feedback sheet. Okay, Marcy likes the topics. Okay, Mercy, hope to get time to join all the sessions. Yeah, and Mercy, if as long as you're a member, you can go back, you'll get the workbook, the video recording, audio recording. You can go back 10 years and get all of those resources. So just as long as you're a member. Rose, sounds great. Okay. And then one thing I'll ask from you is to fill in the survey. So there is a survey that I send this link out every month. And I know that most people don't get super excited about filling in surveys. So there's a little surprise there. Every month, I draw someone's name at random to win a free Life Lenses assessment. So drum roll, and I don't know if this person's online, but the winner from the last roundtable, drum roll, is, so again, I pulled this name at random from people who filled in the survey from the last roundtable. So this month's winner is Theodosia. Are you here, Theodosia? I know you signed up. I saw, maybe haven't made it yet. No, not on. Okay, so so that's one way to thank you in advance for filling in that survey if you do. And there's also a little surprise at the end of the survey as well. So feel free to do that. Okay, so let's unmute. So in a moment, because we're just about to dive into our roadmap, and oh, no worries, Maha, for I trust that people get here when they can, so no need to apologize. So we're about to dive into the roadmap. On the count of 3, feel free to unmute and just say hello in whatever language you wish. So on the count of 3, unmute and say hello. And you might want to say hello in more than one language. So here we go. And then we'll dive in. So 1, 2, 3, go.
Hello.
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 Aww. Oh, that's so great. Okay, so feel free to mute again. Thank you for participating. I heard some good mornings, so just acknowledging that some of you are at the very beginning of your day, and some of you are at the end of your day, and some of you are at the middle. So, okay, so let's dive in. So, oh, and by the way, know, particularly if you're a UN staff, this is actually part of a longer workshop that the UN had me design and deliver. And I'll be teaching it September 14th and 15th, October 25th and 26th, and November 15th and 16th. And you can, let me just copy this here. You can get all those workshop information at that URL there. So if you're a UN staff and you're like, oh, I'd like to get more of work-life balance, feel free to sign up for one of those courses there. Okay, so let's talk about this elusive myth of work-life balance, and let's put this to bed for good. So I asked you to bring a pen or a pencil or a spoon or a fork. So this would be the time to grab that right now. So and if you can, please put your cameras on. So I'm just going to stop sharing just for a moment. And so turn your cameras on and grab your pen or your pencil or your spoon, whatever you have, your fork. And I'd like you to try to balance that. Okay, so balance it on one finger and then try to just hold it there and then show us on the screen. So, hey, Camille, hi, Maria, Marcia, Hazel, Osofo, Jorge, Sylvia, great. Mercy, Samir, Bonnie, Daniela. Oh, so nice to see you all. Okay, now imagine that I was beside you. Okay, so I'm sitting beside you and I come and I bump you. What's going to happen to that pen or pencil or spoon? And you can unmute and let me know, or you can put it in the chat. Oh, Jess had to go to an urgent meeting. Okay, you're welcome back, Jess, if you can join us again. And again, if you're a member, you can go back anytime to the recordings. So if I'm sitting beside you and I come and I'm like, hey, Camille, and I bump you, what's going to happen to this pencil or this pen? It's going to be unstable. Yeah, I like it. It's going to be unstable and shaky. Exactly, right? It's probably going to fall, right? It's probably going to fall to the floor or fall to your table. Okay, let me go back. Yeah, Maurice, exactly. And Jorge, it's going to fall. So let me just go back and I'm going to share my screen again. So just let me know in the chat. Can you see my screen again, okay? Okay, thanks. Yeah, so that's a little bit, I think when in the popular culture, when we talk about work-life balance, we put this unintentional, very rigid, brittle, inflexible standard in front of us that we have to be doing everything perfectly, and that balance means 50-50, and in reality it's this really rigid, inflexible concept. And is there a link to the slides? So if you're a member, you'll get a link to the PowerPoint, the audio recording, the video recording, etc. Yeah, as long as you're a member. So when we're thinking about this work-life balance, what I really, if you take one thing away from today, I really encourage you to think about what works the best for you, right? What might be, what you might think is work-life balance for you might be very, very different for what it is for me, right? I talked a little bit about my context at the beginning about refeathering, etc. So I think we need to do what works best for us and try not to bow to that pressure. And when I say what works best for us, that will probably include, if this is relevant to you, people in your home. So that might include children, if you have children, your parents, your partner, also your team, right, and your organization. So I would encourage you to take this informal pledge. So feel free to unmute and repeat after me. So everyone unmute. Okay, and repeat after me. I pledge.
I pledge.
I pledge
to put the myth of perfect work-life balance to bed for good. And I commit doing what's best for me and my circumstances, and including not bowing to other people's pressure.
Not bowing to other people's pressure.
Okay, now give yourselves a hand.
Very good.
Nice. Okay, and feel free to mute again, just for the background noise. Okay, so, and let me know in the comments, can you relate to that pressure to have that perfect balance and your home look perfect? If you have children, your children look perfect. They're always, you're always wearing the right thing. You've got, makeup or your hair, like everything, your career is going 100%, your home life is going 100%. Can people relate to that pressure? Let me know. Yeah, I've got some yeses in the chat here. Yeah, and that's really normal, right? Human beings are very social beings, and we tend to compare ourselves to others. And sometimes that's good. And in this case, it's not necessarily very helpful. So thank you for taking that pledge. Welcome. Jess is just coming in, and Nadia, welcome. So delighted to have you. Okay, I have another challenge for you. And Kate. Oh, hi, Kate. It's so nice to have you here. Kate saying yes, especially in the summer when everyone seems to have exciting trip plans. Right. And if you look at some popular culture, magazines, we even put pressure on, like, our bodies have to look a certain way, if we're going to be going to the beach. Like, it's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous pressure, but it's very, very real. And of course, it will really, really vary depending on the culture that you're coming from. Maurice is saying, can you please, write the pledge here. Oh, Maurice, if someone wants to take a stab at that, I just made it up. It's kind of an informal pledge. But feel free if you want to, if someone else want to take a stab at that, or you can kind of do that jointly in the chat. And actually, I'll put that in the follow-up resource package as well, which I'm just making a note of, because if I don't write it down, it goes out of my head. Let's see. Maurice is saying it could be great for hanging in the wall up. Padma Sri is saying, you guys are so great. You know what I'll do? I'll get my virtual assistant to make this look pretty. So I'll make up something that you can print off. That's a great idea, Maurice. Love it. And thank you, Padma Sri, for doing that. And by the way, if I'm not pronouncing your name, please feel free to correct me in the chat. You can direct message me or message the whole group. Okay, so we're on to talking about some of the latest research. I go over a lot more of this in the longer course, but I wanted to, thank you. I wanted to give you just a kind of the tip of the iceberg here. So some of what we're feeling with this work-life balance is trying to make sense of things. So I am going to stop the share. And I am going to share actually a different page here. And while I'm bringing this up, please feel free to grab a piece of paper, or actually, no, you can just do it in the chat. So feel free to do this in the chat. And folks, can you see my iTunes? It says unknown out. Okay, great. Okay, and Jess is coming in. Okay, hi Jess, welcome. So I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to play, it's an extremely long word. It possibly is the longest word in the English language. And I encourage you to try to write this word down in the chat. Okay, and I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit. It's a little bit hard to hear, and I'll play it several times. Okay, so your task is to try to write this word down in the chat. So here we go.
We call this mob stalking, herbivorous, solar conversion, lignified carbon sequestration, fertilization.
Okay, can you hear it? Okay, just let me know. Did you hear it when I play? Okay, so I'm going to play it several times. Great. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Marcia and Camille. Okay, so I'm going to play it a couple times. I'll play it like 5 times and see if you can start writing that word in the chat. Here we go.
We call this mob stalking, herbivorous, solar conversion, lignified carbon sequestration, fertilization. We call this mob stalking, herbivorous, solar conversion, lignified carbon sequestration, fertilization. We call this mob stalking, herbivorous, solar conversion, lignified carbon sequestration, fertilization.
Okay, I don't see any attempts at writing it down. There we go. Okay. Oh, great, great, great. Okay, here we go again. Played a couple more times.
We call this mob stalking, herbivorous, solar conversion, lignified carbon sequestration, fertilization. We call this mob stalking, herbivorous, solar conversion, lignified carbon sequestration, fertilization.
Okay, and very last time.
We call this mob stalking, herbivorous, solar conversion, lignified carbon sequestration, fertilization.
Okay, give yourselves a pat on the back. And what I want you, what I encourage you to take away from that, let me just bring up the screen here again. Well, first of all, is to thank you for attempting that, because it's a little bit of a mind bender, and that was recorded. I recorded that from a CBC, a Canadian Broadcasting Corporation interview many years ago. And what I really love of it is there's roughly, I'm going to guess 20, 30 people, maybe 40 people that have replied in the chat. And I'm not a betting person, but I would bet that there's no 2 exactly alike. So even though you all heard the same thing, each one is different. So what does that have to do with anything? Is making sense is exhausting. Welcome, Dr. Mohammed. Lovely to have you here. Welcome, welcome. So these last couple of years have all been about trying to make sense of things and how exhausting that is, right? So if you happen to be in that particular field where the mob stalking quote made sense, it would be easy for you. But when we really have to work hard to make sense, it's exhausting. And the drive to understand and to explain things and to make sense is actually a human need. And while it can be exhausting, it can also lead to discovery and delight, and sometimes disaster. So I don't know, can anyone remember back? It seems, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm stuck in time, to the beginning of the pandemic. And I know I live in Kenya, my whole family is in Canada, and I was panicky trying to think, should I go home to Canada? We still have lots of that special liquid that you wash your groceries with, because at that time masks weren't a thing. Like, I was just really struggling to make sense of everything, and that really affected work-life balance. And of course, that has put us into a pretty particular and pretty new context. So the context of the pandemic has moved online meetings to a small slice of our day to, many of us have spent hours and hours and hours online. In fact, what do you think some of this research has said? This is from a wonderful book called Remote Inc. It's a pretty new book. What percentage of time do you think executives are now spending in online meetings? So what percentage of time do you think executives are spending in online meetings? So Nasipo is saying 80%. Great guess. Anyone else? Over 40, about 65, 76, 100%, 90, 75, 60. And now not only are we doing online, but we're competing with pets and food in the fridge and chores that need to be done and all those kinds of things. These are great guesses. Okay, so in this particular research from Remote Inc. Is over 70% online. And you may be familiar with this. Which CEO of what company says that he has, in this particular example, it's a male, says that he has Zoom fatigue. And I know many of you use Teams, but this example is from Zoom. Exactly, Kate. Yeah. So even the CEO, right, of Zoom says that he has Zoom fatigue, which I think is brilliant, right? That's really something to pay attention to. I know, right, Maha? It's pretty funny. Right? And it also helps with that myth of work-life balance, right? So, that going from that really, it's very hard to get that exactly balanced, and it's very, very fragile. The least bit of wind or tension or movement is going to throw it off. And, if the CEO of Zoom is struggling, then, we can certainly take some pressure. Jess is saying he started before us. Yeah, that could be. I like that you're thinking about different contexts, right? Exactly. And do you know, this again comes from Remote Inc., that when we're face-to-face and when we're online, our bodies respond differently. So our biochemistry is different. I found that absolutely fascinating. Olga's coming in. So in face-to-face, neurotransmitters like dopamine and oxytocin. Hi, Olga. Welcome. Those chemicals get released, and that actually facilitates better interpersonal communication. So those reactions aren't happening as much online, right? So that fatigue and that exhaustion, they have a lot of roots and a lot of reasons, but one of them is actually in our biochemistry. Okay, another contextual piece, because again, we can tend to compare ourselves and forget that everyone comes from a different context. Padma is saying we also miss facial gestures when we're online, which are 37% of communication, right? I heard someone explain it like we're all stuck in an elevator with about 90, did they say 90 centimeters? No, it was less than that. I think 45 centimeters apart, and we can't look away. It's just a whole different world. And Daniela agrees with you. Maha saying, I have a blind student who often talks about preferring being in person. He doesn't see gestures. I have no idea how he experiences this. Great question. Really great question. Yeah, and people that have different who have different abilities, when a lot of us were wearing masks and not being able to see, even when we're in person, that part of our face really affects communication. So the good thing, I think most people would agree with this, is that lots of places are returning to something approximating what we had pre-pandemic. So things like restaurants, they're starting to fill up again, airports, hotels, theaters, we're getting closer to pre-pandemic levels. But that does not apply to the office. That does not apply to the office at all. So when folks were surveyed in 2021, executives said, oh, we think this percentage of people will be back in the office in the future. But when they were just recently surveyed, it changed to a different percentage. Plus, currently, what percentage of office workers do you think are back in the office full-time right now? So give me 3 numbers. What percentage do you think are back in the office full-time right now in general? What percentage did executives think would be back in 2021? And for those same executives that were recently surveyed, what percentage do they think is going to come back now? Kate, this is global. This is overall. So Jorge is saying 40, 80, 30, right? 45, 70, but 100% soon. Okay, 20, 50, 30, 5. Look, notice how different the ranges are, right? They're so, so different. 40, 50, 30, 60, 80, 40. Okay, so here is the answers. Okay, so only globally speaking, only about a third of office workers are back full-time, right? So that's 5 days a week. And it's looking like that's not going to change dramatically anytime soon. And in 2021, when executives were surveyed, what they thought, how many people would be back, they said 50%, but that's dropped to less than half of that now. Now, when they were surveyed, they said, okay, well, we thought 50, now we think only about 20% are going to come back full time. So those are massive tectonic plates changing there. And in addition, remote and hybrid have their own problems. So in many cases, remote work has meant meeting fatigue, collapse of work-life balance, overwhelming amounts of email, awkward attempts at social connection. By the way, I'm giving you some of the negative things, right? But don't worry, we're going to really soon shift into how we can deal with all this. And then hybrid. So some of us, let me know, by the way, in the chat. So what percentage are you back in the office right now? So let me know, what percentage are you back in the office right now? And then, oh, Marcia's 100. Okay. 10. Oh, wow. Look at the difference, right? 110, 3 days a week. Okay. 30. Kate doesn't know. Zero. So we have the whole gamut. We have from 0 and 1% right up to 100. Okay. And is anyone doing hybrid work? So you have, for example, some of your work is online and some of it's in person. You have some meetings where some people are in the physical room with you and some, Kate's saying, I thought you meant our whole office. Okay, she's in 2 days a week. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is great. Okay. So, and then just, so how many are doing hybrid? Okay. That's a whole other, I think, was it the last roundtable, the one before is on hybrid. So I can link that in the resources for you. Okay. Camille always did hybrid. Okay. Yeah. I know I've worked from home for 25 years. That was not a new thing for me, but I know for many, many people it was. And sometimes hybrid can be the worst of both worlds, right? Long commutes to half empty offices just to sit on Zoom calls all day or Teams. And by the way, this research comes from out of office, and I'll put that. You'll get members get all of this research. So, sometimes some of the core problems, core issues are that we've left the physical office, but we've taken the broken culture with us. And there can be a lot of widespread dysfunction, but tons and tons and tons of opportunity. And you're somehow, some way, not only are you making it work, but you're here to get even better at what you're doing. So on the count of 3, feel free to unmute and just give a little hoo-ha, right? Because really, right, 2.5 years now, you've been making it work. So on the count of 3, unmute and give a little cheer. So 1, 2, 3, go ahead.
Hey.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. Okay, so feel free to mute yourself again. And let's dive in. So we've set the context. We've talked, and first of all, we talked about some of the housekeeping about the roundtable for those of you who are here for the first time. Now let's dive into, okay, so what do we do with all of that? So one of the things that you can do is, and this is one of several tools that I teach in the longer course, is this particular tool that's designed to uncover how you're currently dealing with work-life balance and how you can create more relaxation, balance, and less fear and anxiety. So it's very, very simple. This is based on National Geographic research, and it's this motivation survey that I put together. So if you know yourself and what motivates you, then you can take a really big step towards more work-life balance. So I am going to I'm going to encourage you to click on the link that I put in the chat. And also, if your future self is watching this on the video, the link will be down below. So I'm going to pause the recording and encourage you to take that survey. It's really, really short. And when you have your answer, come back and put your answer if you wish to share in the chat, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so welcome back after taking the survey. Again, that will be in the workbook, so you can share that with colleagues or friends or your family. And I think there should be a link on the survey also to get a bit more information about that. But basically, this is about knowing which way do you lean, right? Which way is comfortable for you? What feels normal, natural, and right? And if you know this, then you can more easily work on your work-life balance. Just all the sentences are numbered. So if you look at the numbers that you're selecting. Okay, so here we go. So if you picked mostly ones, and sometimes people have a couple different ways that they're motivated. It means that you're motivated by achievement. It means you're motivated by achievement. So if people are motivated by achievement, they want to get things done, right? They want to tick things off the list. They want to succeed. So in terms of work-life balance, people that are motivated by achievement might want to set some goals for themselves and then work towards those goals. Maha saying, I knew I was a mix of 2 and 6, but I've been a 3. So basically I care about future justice and like to do it in community, often as a leader. I love that yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Okay. So if you picked, oh, and by the way, each of these numbers have their good days and their bad days. So I explained the good day for ones. A bad day for number ones would mean I'm not going to eat properly. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to exercise because I just want to get ahead. I just want to succeed. I'm just not going to stop working. I'm just going to work. Right? That's a 1 on a bad day. So mostly 2s are motivated by power. So Maha used this, right? Leadership, right? People that they want to have a position of responsibility and leadership. So on a good day, that looks like really well-informed, lovely. I'm reading this book. Do I have it here called Mindset? Yeah, I do. Oh, I think this is going to be one of my favorite books of my entire life. It's so good. This is where she talks about growth mindset. So growth mindset leaders really encourage the people that they work with. They're not concerned about taking all the credit. People motivated by power on a bad day could be fixed mindset. So I only want to take the credit. I'm not going to support anyone else, and I'm really not going to be a very, very good leader. Folks that are picked mostly 3s are all about affiliation. So they want to work in teams. They want to work in groups. On a good day, they can, teams are wonderful, right? There's lots of different ways to look at the world. So you get lots of different perspectives, etc. On a bad day, potentially they're only socializing, right? If it's in the workplace, they're just not getting anything done. Okay, Raban is saying, haha, that's me, not eating, sleeping, work. Yeah, so that's great that you know that, and that's something to consider when we go through the other pieces of the workshop to potentially address. Mahmoud gets motivated from failure. Oh, Mahmoud, that's a sign of a growth mindset, by the way. Okay, and then those who picked mostly 4s are motivated by autonomy. So not super interested in leadership, right? Not super interested in power, not super interested in affiliation in social. I want to do things on my own. Just let me, we agree on what I need to do, and then just let me do it. So on a good day, very self-motivated. On a bad day, not considering what other people need and want, just really kind of have blinders on, right? Those who pick mostly 5s are motivated by external. And external on a good day could be things like, what does my community, welcome Boita, so glad that you're here. What does my community need? What does my team need? What does my family need? What's happening in the current culture and the climate, etc. On a bad day, motivated externally might mean, and I'm just picking someone at random here. Bainey, I'm not going to hang out with Bainey because they're not wearing the right label of clothing, or they don't drive the right kind of car, or, being very superficially motivated by consumer goods, right? Like labels and money and, things like that. And then those who pick mostly 6s are motivated by the future. So focusing on things potentially like informal settlements, upgrading, climate change, anti-racism work, raising good, healthy, critical thinking, creative kids, etc. On a bad day, the future folks can be a little bit like the achievement folks. I'm just going to work because this issue is so important. I'm just not going to eat, sleep. I'm just going to focus on nothing else but this issue that that's so important to me. And then we can tend to burn out. Maha's saying, speaking of future, can we use this survey with others? Oh, of course, Maha. Yeah, as many as you like. And I'll put a link in the workbook. I think it's in the survey as well. There's a link in the survey to get more information. Padma is saying we could be motivated across 1 to 6. Yes, absolutely. There's probably 1 or 2 that motivate you more than the others, but definitely you can be motivated. And it could also depend. Maybe you're motivated by different things at home than you are at work. Maybe different ways motivate you. Mahmoud saying, I get my objectives in my life, and many times I did not get it. I never stop my hard work efforts until I get it. Oof, that's such a growth mindset. You're tenacious, right? Oh, and grit. That's another survey I can share with you. One of the things that really, really focuses on what's the number one thing that really determines if someone's going to be successful is their level of grit, which that's a whole other piece of research. But basically, how tenacious are we, right? So it sounds, Mahmoud, that like you're really, really tenacious. Again, don't worry about the score 100%. Everyone will get 100%. You want to focus on the numbers that you chose. So just like Padma chose 2, 4, and 6, that's what you want to focus on. Jess, ding, 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 ding. Can we try to appreciate and learn other ways of motivation? Absolutely. I love that you said that. So first of all, know inherently what motivates you, and then think about the people that you spend your time with outside of work and the people that you spend your time with at work, because we tend to teach how we like to learn, we tend to try to motivate others how we like to be motivated. And if your styles don't match, then maybe they don't feel like they're getting motivated. So absolutely, I love that. I think we have to mix between our motivation drivers to be successful. Bakra is saying, yeah. Janet, who would think that a tiny little survey with just a handful of questions could get my character down to a T? Oh, that's great. Maha, I'm sorry. Oh, I have to leave. No worries. Again, if you're a member, I usually try to get stuff out on Monday or Tuesday. So all the members watch for your email and you'll have all the resources. Okay. So think about that as you go forward. We've now done that one piece, and let's go on to a couple of others. So we did one tool. Next up is a skill, but I want to ask you before we do that, we're just about at the top of the hour. The skill is going to take us roughly 10 minutes or so. Would you prefer to have a break now, or would you prefer to do the skill and then have a break? Nosofo saying, how do you become a member? Nosofo. So the newsletter is a different link. And I will put the membership link in the chat. Padma is saying a break now. Can I have a couple of other input? Do you want a break now? Okay, Jorge's saying skill now and then break. So we have a tie. What other people want? Break now or skills now? Break now, skills. We still have a tie. Skills then break. Gosh, we still have a tie. Skills. Okay, skill. Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. So skills. Okay, so skills and then break. Okay, thank you for that input. So the skill that we're going to focus on, and then, so this will be about 10 minutes, and then we'll have about like a 7-ish minute break. Okay, so this skill is keeping up. So feel free to put a emoji in the chat about when you think about the pressure to keep up, how does that make you feel? So when you think about the pressure to keep up, feel free to put an emoji in the chat about how that makes you feel. So this skill is all about, my eyes are so bad, it's so hard to see the little ones. I like the sunglasses. Okay, so lots of different, got some sad faces. Okay, don't know emoji, but it makes me believe I'll make it. Okay, good. I like that, Jess. Some sweating there from Camille. Okay, so oftentimes, most of the time, well, let me ask you, does anyone have so much empty time that they don't know what to do? They just like, you're twiddling your thumbs all the time because you're just so bored. You're just looking for things to fill up your time. Yeah, no way. Yeah. So most of us have some kind of pressure, just like the pressure for work-life balance. We have this pressure to keep up. So this next, Mahmoud saying, just drink water and relax, either walk or play game. Nice. Okay. Jorge is saying, always looking for gaps. Okay, so this next skill is about dealing with that pressure of keeping up. So number one, you may want to think, when you're thinking about this pressure, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed with this work-life balance, think about, can you divide? And knowing that people have different contexts, you have to take what works for you, and some of these things may not work for you. But think about, how are you spending your time? Can you schedule some time for when you really need to think deeply and concentrate and plan? A really dear friend and colleague of mine, when she needs to do really thoughtful, strategic work, she sits in a different chair. She changes her chair. I thought, oh, that's just so simple and so brilliant. Can you think about when you need time to do almost mindless and repetitive tasks, right? Can you schedule your time that way? Can you schedule for when you need social time, right? When you're in meetings, you're mentoring, you're supervising, you're giving feedback, etc. Okay, just saying it works, but I'm afraid I will take more time and will not have enough time for other things. Yes, time is so elusive. That's why a lot of these things are I'll share with you are about this. Padma is saying, I divide my day between repetitive tasks, thinking work, social, spiritual, or yes, that's fantastic. Jorge is saying his focus time is a priority. Nice. Maurice is saying, oh, distractions create a thinking maze. Yeah. And you may want to divide your time between planned and unplanned, because how we deal with our time has a huge impact on our work-life balance. So think about your kinds of time. I always try to think about, how can I catch the ripple to avoid the wave? How can I catch the ripple to avoid the wave? And what I mean by that is, there's something, welcome, Catherine, so glad you're here. Is there something really little I can do that's going to prevent a big problem down the road? Or is someone waiting on me for something that if I just take 5 minutes, do that little ripple thing, then they can get on with their work. I'm not blocking their progress. So what are some little things that you can do, little ripples that you can do to avoid those big waves later on? And also, how many people have seen this, this time grid of urgent and not urgent, and important and not important? Mahmoud saying, I've experienced when senior management give tasks with short deadline to get task. I call meeting with team and discuss the issues and deadline, discussing with colleagues, plan and perform the task. No need to get panic. Ah, nice, nice. Padre has seen this. Yeah, so this is usually credited to Stephen Covey, but it was actually Eisenhower, so a US president, who did this. And basically, there are 4 different kinds of time. So things that are important and urgent. Okay, so that would be right here. So if your office is on fire, that's urgent and important. Okay. Then there are things that are urgent but not important. So that's someone knocking on your door or phoning you or texting you. It's urgent, it's in the moment, but it's probably not, may not be important. Then, yeah, Jorge, it's also in good to great. Yeah. Then there are things that are not urgent and not important. So those are kind of busy things, right? We do those things because we want to feel like we're getting ahead, but actually it's just busy work. And then the hardest quadrant to get into is things that are not urgent, but they're important. That's the hardest quadrant to work in. So they're not urgent, but they're important. So think of your career satisfaction, think of strategic planning, exercising, things like that. So that's another way that you can think about your time. And a fourth way is who knows of MIT? We usually forget about number 2. Yes, we do. So MIT, what's it called? Massachusetts Institute for Technology. It's a very Ivy League thing. You can go to MIT, but this is a different one. If you think about at the beginning of your day or the day before, what is your most important task, right? What is your most important task? That's a really easy way, or maybe not easy, but simple way to also plan your time. Patrick is saying, yes, I plan on what are the 3 most important things to do. So you go to MIT 3 times. Great. Okay, and then meetings. This comes from Remote Inc. And some of you won't have the ability to plan the meeting because you're attending it, but ideally, from Remote Inc., you want to have a meeting that's like a good 3-course meal. So you have an appetizer, a little interesting intro, the main course, and then a dessert, an interesting way to end it, or a way to follow up, etc. Okay, and then the last piece around sprints, just before we take a quick break, is the last skill around keeping up and thinking about time and how we manage our time is sprints. So how many people, is anyone familiar with a sprint? If I say, oh, I'm on a sprint today, would you know what that means? Let me know in the chat. Okay. So Kate does, yeah. So the idea of, Kennedy's saying, I started making a to-do list starting with the most important task of the day. Yes. And you may want to also track your time. I mentioned that at the beginning, using a tool like Toggle, because that really, one of the things about time is do you have a really good idea of how you're spending your time? Now that I have 2 years of data, so helpful. Okay, so back to sprints. Sprints are when you know something's coming up, a report is due, a funder is coming for a visit, a new staff is starting, and you've got to put that pedal down and really, really, really work hard. And hopefully that's for a finite amount of time. But if you plan for a sprint, maybe that includes getting all your dinners ready for that week, or you've really if you have children, you've got something planned for them in the evenings because you know that your days are going to be really long. So if you know a sprint is coming up, let me know in the chat, what are some other things that you could do to get ready for a sprint? So again, a sprint is when you you're working really long hours, again, hopefully for a limited amount of time. You could get all your meals ready. You could inform others. Yes, Jess. Yeah, let them know. Maybe you could plan something on the weekend. If you know that sprint's going to be all week, on Saturday, whatever is nice for you, plan a massage or something. Padma is saying schedule sprints ahead of time. Yes, if you can, absolutely scheduling them. Great. Okay, friends. So you've done a lot of work, and I really want to congratulate you. We've talked about this elusive myth. We've talked about some of the most cutting edge research around work-life balance. We've done one tool around motivation, and then we've addressed this skill of keeping up and how we can, some ways we can manage our time to do that. So I am going to pause the recording for a break. Okay, welcome back from your break if you took one, and future you, hopefully you're taking some breaks. We're just talking about what people did. I mentioned yoga with Adrienne. Diana knows her, and Catherine too. Yeah, she's great. She's so great. Okay, so you're doing awesome. Thank you so much. We've talked about the elusive myth and how fragile, and not resilient that idea of balance is. Right? It's just so fragile. So really doing what works for us and what fits you and your lifestyle and your priorities, your stage of life. I made a note. I'm going to take the pledge that people took, and I'll have my VA, my virtual assistant, make it into something kind of cool. And I'll put that in the package, the workbook, which you'll get probably Monday or Tuesday of next week if you're a member. The link to become a member is in the chat, so look at that if you're interested. We talked about some cutting edge research. We talked about a simple tool about knowing your motivation style, which of those 6 styles. If your future self is watching this, the link for that motivation style will be down below. And then we talked about the skill of keeping up, which is a big part of that is managing time. And we talked about, I think, 6 different ways to think about how we manage our time. Okay, so now we're going to do some mapping. So I encourage you I'm going to put this link in the chat here. And if you're watching a video, this link will be down below. So if you click on this link, it's going to take you to a worksheet that looks a little bit like this. And when you download the worksheet, you have to download it first, then you can edit it directly. So this is all about mapping your stress. Oh, it's that time of day where the ibises are making a noise. They're beautiful birds, but they make a racket. So there's 3 different kinds of stress, and you've probably heard of 2 of them. Can folks hear the ibis in the background? You can let me know in the chat. So you've probably heard of stress. So we'll start with the middle one. So stresses are the things that are causing you some stress, but not anguish, right? So they're things that are causing you some discomfort, but not tons of discomfort. So once you download that worksheet, you can fill in what those things are for yourself, and you don't have to share this with anyone. I'm not going to ask you to share. Then you may also want to map your distress. So do you have any things in your life that are causing you significant stress? So it might be affecting your health, it might be affecting your sleep, it might be affecting your relationships. So you can also put those on the worksheet. And then the third one is eustress. So does anyone know what eustress is? I know it's kind of a funny word. Does anyone know what eustress is? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, Padma say it's positive stress. So it could be things like someone talked about getting a new job, doing the same kind of work, but for a different organization. You may likely have some eustress about that. You're excited about it. And Janet is saying Brexit. That's a really good example, because for some people that could be eustress, for some people stress, and for some people distress. That's a great example. I'm glad you brought that up. Jane, yes, it's a positive form of stress. So yeah, Diana, it motivates you, it excites you. It could be things like going on a date, or, in terms of your home life, it could be getting married or your birthday or, something like that. In terms of work, it could be a promotion or celebrating a long anniversary. You've been there a long time, or taking on a new project that's really exciting, but it's also a little bit scary. So I am going to, let's take a look at the time here. You let me know. So my thought was to put you in some small groups. Now you can choose if you go into the small groups or stay in the large group. Some people love small groups, some people, hate them. So I love that you can choose yourself what you like to do. Would you like to talk a little bit? Do you want to have a couple of minutes to do this mapping piece, or do you want to go straight into talking about the implications of this? So you let me know in the chat. So are you ready to talk about the implications? We'll do that in the large group, and then we'll have some small group work. Implications. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to write some questions. Okay. I'm going to write some questions in the chat. So things like, what are the implications of your worksheet for you? So what did you notice? So are the parts about equal or very unequal? So meaning, do you have, are there parts that are empty? So do you have nothing in the stress, right? That would be a bit of a flag for me if I was, if you and I were working beside each other and there wasn't anything you were looking forward to and excited about. That might be something to pay some attention to. What could you do to help yourself be challenged and learn and grow? If you have a lot of things in the distress part, that bucket is really overflowing, or you have one thing in the distress that's just really, really causing you extraordinary amounts of stress, you may want to think about, depending on what it is, you might want to think about your mental health and getting some counseling, going to see your doctor, talking to a friend, those kinds of things. Jorge is saying it's not easy to identify the boundaries. So Jorge, do you mean it's not easy to identify what's causing you stress, and distress? Say a little bit more about that if you're comfortable. Bainey's just joining us here. I have nothing in distress and too much in stress, says Padma. Okay, so those are flags, right? That's a really good thing for you to know in black and white, right? You probably, to some degree know that, but it's a good thing to really have it right in front of you on your screen and to make a plan for that, right? Anyone else? What did you notice? What did you notice? Anything else? Welcome, Bainey. Thank you for being here. Jess is saying distress. Okay, so you have some things in distress. Okay, I'm guessing that's what you mean. So again, that's a really good place to make a plan. What does that mean for you? Jorge said, I just flagged all of them stress without any difference. Oh, okay. So you may, if it's helpful for you, you may want to peel those apart, right? It's kind of putting your stress on a bit of a continuum is another way to think about it, right? It's a way to map your work-life balance, your how you are in the world right now. Jess is saying, can the reason for too much distress is failing in prioritizing? Could be. It could be that the stress of keeping up, that stress of work-life balance can cause distress. Absolutely. That pressure of just not being able to get on top of things, not being able to prioritize, where you feel like you're fighting fires all the time, can definitely cause distress. Nosifo is saying big distress challenge that makes it hard to identify stresses. Oh, I'm sorry that you have that situation, and I'm very glad that you brought it up, that that sometimes we have positive stress in our life, but the distress can wipe that all out. So sometimes just that act of mapping that out can be a healthy thing to do for your work-life balance. Mahmoud is saying, I get stressed, but not more than 2 days. Nice. Let us know what some of your strategies are, Mahmoud. How do you get, I think you mentioned it earlier. You talked about talking to your team, and if I believe you had some spiritual time, if I'm remembering rightly. Okay, great. So I want to thank you for mapping that out. I know some of those things might have increased your blood pressure a bit, thinking about the parts of your life that maybe aren't going the way you want right now and are causing you some distress. And hopefully you have some things in that part of the bucket that are causing you some stress. And if you don't, I really encourage you to think about how can you fill up that part of the bucket. During the pandemic, I've been working on my French with Duolingo, the app that causes me stress. I've been learning the piano. I bought a keyboard. My kids aren't around to complain about the sound. So that's been really fun. Camila saying distress can become stress the day and reverse depending on the mood. Oh, depending on the mood, depending on the person. Yeah, absolutely. What can be very positive stress can turn into distress depending on our perspective and also depending on our mindset. I was telling you about this book I'm reading, which is just so good. Okay. Thank you so much for all of your comments and questions. There's so much wisdom in our group. Jorge is saying, as I don't see yet the difference, the most effective way to deal with any of them is to exercise, walk, and dance. Yeah, so that's a great segue into the next section, actually. So thank you for bringing that up. Lorena's just joining us. Lorena, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Can you please give the reference of your book, Mindset, please? Oh, sure, Camille. And I'll put it in I'm just making a note to put it in the workbook. It's called Mindset. The title's kind of cheesy. The New Psychology of Success. It's not a cheesy book. It's great. By Carol Dweck. So this is the book. I haven't finished it, but it is pun intended. It's blowing my mind. It is every year I do a blog post about all the books I've read, and I do a little summary, and I always have my top 5 for the year. This is probably going to be my number 1. Okay, my PhD. My PhD journey is stress, and distress. I'm sure my partner's doing his PhD. I can relate from the sidelines. Yeah, it's a great example. Mahmoud, I take away from COVID-19 mask. I move mask and wear it most of the time, but particularly going. So you're taking charge of your health and feeling in control of that. Nosifo saying, yes, Jorge, health is the new normal. Yeah. Who knew we'd be talking so much about vaccines, right? Which vaccine did you get? Okay. So I would encourage you, I'm going to give you, let me think here, about 10 minutes or so, maybe a little longer. And this is your time. I'm going to invite you to go into small groups, but you can also stay in the large group. So if you want to stay in the large group, we can just talk amongst ourselves here in the large group. If you want to stay in the large group, just don't accept the invitation that's going to pop up on your screen in a minute. So in the large group or in your small group, if you want to go in the small group, you just accept the invitation. Please take a few minutes to introduce yourself, because there's just such cool people in the room. So it's a great opportunity to meet some new fabulous people. And then talk about what's one way that you're going to use the motivation tool. Use the keeping up skill that we talked about, and using the stressors map, right? So basically, what are you going to do with this information? Mahmood saying, can you give the reference for the mindset book? Oh, great. And Nusifo already put the link up there. Awesome. And I'll put it in the workbook for members too. Okay, so just to recount or recap, I'm going to, in a second, you'll see an invitation for a small group. And in your small group, if you want to go into the small group, talk about how you're going to use the motivation tool, the keeping up skill, that was all the stuff we talked about, time, and then the stressors map. And if you don't want to go in the small group and you want to stay in this big group, just don't accept that invitation. Any questions before I put you into breakout rooms? Any questions before I put you into breakout rooms? I will say that if I suddenly move you from one room to another, it's because I can see that no one has joined that room and I don't want you to be all by yourself. Okay. No questions. So if you do go in the small group, introduce yourself and talk about how you're going to use this information. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so welcome back everyone for talking about how you're going to use all this information, these skills and these tools, and that stressors map. In the large group, we were talking about Anklesa, which is the Spouses Association here in Nairobi. And we were talking about the motivation tool. We tend to assume, or we tend to fall into that trap of thinking that other people are motivated how we like to be motivated. So one of the folks here was talking about being motivated by 1 and 6, which is achievement and the future. And so I suggested potentially motivating people to join if they were motivated by affiliation. It could be really interesting to say, oh, hey, would you like to join? You'll get a chance to meet, I'm just making this up, Hazel, who's a children's author from Zimbabwe, or you get to meet a chemist, Joanna from DRC, or, so that's a different way to look at it, right? If you're trying to look at it through those different ways of motivation. So hopefully you got a chance to chat about how you're going to use this information. Jess is saying nice time in small groups. Only the decision to take this workshop is a step towards a better harmony. Oh, I love that, Jess. Nice. Okay, so we're just about at the end of our time. We've got about 10 minutes left. What questions do you have? What questions do you have for me or for each other? And you can unmute and ask, or you can put them in the chat, whatever is most comfortable for you.
I have a question, Leanne. Padma here.
Hi, Padma.
Maybe you could give me some tips on how to manage overwhelm.
How to manage overwhelm. Oh, so I think, another word for overwhelm is this pressure to keep up, right? Like we tend to be like kind of the definition of being overwhelmed is I just can't keep up. There's too many things coming at me. I can't get them all done on time. I might not know how to prioritize them. So great question, Padma. I would encourage you to go back to the recording or go back to the after you receive, if you're a member, after you receive the deck, you can go back to these slides and think about how can you manage your time? Can you be blocking off some time based on when you need to do deep thinking, when it's more social, etc.? Going back to some of these things, are there little things, like especially if you're motivated by achievement, are there little things that you can do that would just make you go, oh, I'm moving forward, I'm getting some stuff done? Like just really simple things, like those little ripples. Can you take some of it? Could be interesting to take a piece of paper or do it, on your computer and make a grid of the urgent and not urgent and important and not important. Usually when we're feeling overwhelmed, it just means I shouldn't say just, it's not just at all. It means we have too much to do. So you could map out those things in these quadrants, because sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed, there's a lot of things that aren't urgent and aren't important. So this tool could be an interesting way potentially for you to feel less overwhelmed, because then you can focus on the things that are important. You may want to every day, if you don't already do this, think about what is your most important task, 1 to 3 of those that you want to get done. Once you get that done, you're like, oof, it's been a good day because the most important things have gotten done. How are you with meetings? Is that an issue that might require some attention by you if that's linked to your overwhelm? And then finally, sprints. Can you schedule some sprints in to catch up and reduce that overwhelm? So those are some ideas. Great question, Padma. Thank you for asking. Does that help?
Yes, it does. I do most of the things, the grid and the most important tasks and everything. But
okay.
But sometimes I feel like you have some things which are like your habits, which are important for you. And
Yeah.
that doesn't fit in the grid very well, because they are important and they are not urgent, but then you have scheduled it like that, right?
Yeah. So yeah, there is an important distinction between important that are urgent and not urgent. And
Right,
that
right.
I think what you're referring to is that grid that's not urgent but important. And that's the hardest one to get into. That's things like exercise and strategy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question before we wrap up? I'm so glad you asked that, Padma. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, then let's shift into our closing. Remember that I gave you, it's one thing to carve out this time, which you very successfully did, to take this workshop, which is fantastic. And I really want to encourage you to use your learning. And one way you can do that is to download this worksheet and think about what's one thing you want to do when it comes to work-life balance. What's one thing you want to continue doing, etc. That can really help you apply your learning. And that worksheet is editable. You just have to download it and then you can edit it. And then if you haven't already and you are interested, please feel free to sign up to be a member. I'll just put these in the chat here. So Alanki is saying, check the link. Is it not working for you? I think someone had said you have to download it to edit it. Sometimes people think they can edit it right on the screen, but let me know, Alanki, if that's not working. Oh, it says the file does. Oh, okay. What happened there? Let me, I will put that in. Why is that not working? I will put that in the, if people want to hang on after we officially close, I'll get the right link. Otherwise, it'll be in the workbook for members. Thank you for letting me know there's an issue there. If you do want to get all the resources, the PowerPoint, the audio recording, the video recording, the PowerPoint deck, you do need to be a member, and I'll send those all out probably Monday or Tuesday. They'll get there. I'll send them to you by email. There is the Beef and Bouquet survey that I really, really, really rely on your feedback. It also gives you an option to give me input on next month's topic, and you get a chance to win a free Life Lenses survey. So make sure you fill that in. If you are a UN staff and you want to get this counted towards your UN mandated annual training, there's the UN attendance sheet. And then make sure September 15th is our next one. So 10 a.m. East Africa time, we'll be talking about life lenses. How do you get into someone else's head and be able to communicate and resolve conflict more easily? Again, there'll be tons of resources coming your way. If you're a member, you can watch for all of those. And if you do need some support around team building, around tech tools and training trainers, don't hesitate to reach out to me. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you. I'm so delighted you joined us. Seriously, I'm so happy you took the time to focus on your work-life balance. It's really important, and the world needs those special talents that you have. So thank you for focusing on that. And I hope to see you next month for the next Learning and Development Roundtable. Thank you, everyone. I'm just going to stop the recording here.